Hello everyone, thank you again for joining me. So today we are going to make this beautiful beaded bag that you can take anywhere. Look at how pretty it looks like. A simple beaded bag but look elegant. Let's start beading. Hello, I appreciate you joining me again today. So on my table here, I have a 10 mm round bead. This is baby blue of the bead, round bead, okay, in a 10 mm. And I have here my beading wire in 50 pounds. This is what I'm going to use today. It's how my beading line is looking like. This is the thickness of it, okay? And I'll be needing my plier and scissors. If you need a plier or scissors or even nail cutter tool will do a good job, okay? Doesn't matter which one, anything that can catch your thread. So let's start. I'm going to start with 5 bead. I'm going to string all these 5 bead on the line. Okay, this is 5 bead I pick. I'm going to put all these 5 bead on the line like this, and I'm going to hold the last one. All right, then I'm going to cross my right line into it and pull down like this. And this is how the ring look like, ring of 5. This is what we have over here. I'm going to continue to add 2 bead on my right and left line. Then I'm going to cross into the 5th one. Okay, so like this, I add 2 bead on my right and left. I'm going to take the 5th one and cross both ends of my line into it and pull down. Cross and pull down. All right. Now we have 2 rings. The first one is 5 and now the second one counts 6. Now on each line again, I add 2 bead on each line like this. Okay, put 2 on the right, 2 on the left. Then we are going to cross into the 5th one and pull down. Cross and pull down. Again, this is how it's looking like. Okay, we start with 5. Now we have 6 rings. Okay, we are going to continue on each side of the line again. I add 2 bead. We are going to cross into the 5th one and pull down. Repeat the same thing over here again. All right, like this. And this is how it's looking like. I'm going to continue to make 3 more, okay, to add 3 more to it like this. This is how it's looking like. So now 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and because we start with 5, we are going to end this one with 5. So I'm stringing 1 bead on the left and 3 on the right. This is how I pick my bead. All right, 3 on the right and 1 on the left. Now I'm going to hold the last one and cross with my left line and pull down like this. And this is how it's looking like. As you can see, we start with 5 and now we end in 5 bead. Now let's continue. So I'm going to continue again. On my left line, I add 5 bead to my left line like this. 5 bead on the line. I'm going to hold the last one and cross my right line into it and pull down. Now my right line into the next 2 bead. Okay, 2 bead, the next 2 bead. I'm going to pull my right line into 2 bead. This is the first one and the second one. And the number of bead I'm going to add to my left line, 3 bead. Cross and pull down. Now again my right line into the next 2 bead. 1 2. Okay, I'm going to pull through 2 bead. Now my left line, I add 3 bead to my left line like this. Hold the last one, cross with the right line and pull into the next 2 bead again. And on my left line, I add 3 beads to my left line. Hold the last one, cross with the right line and pull. So with this row, I'm just going to repeat the same thing over here until I complete. Now I'm about to go into the last 2 beads over here. Okay, I'm pulling my line through the last 2 beads. Again, on my left line, I add 3 beads to my left line. Like this. Hold the last one, cross with the right line and pull. Now my right line into the last bead, this one at the end. I'm pulling my line through the last bead. And I add 4 beads to my line. Okay, I put 3 on the right and 1 on the left. Like this. Now I'm going to hold the last one and cross with my left line and pull. And this is how it should look like. If you complete the second row, this is how it should look like. Now on my left line, I'm going to flip it back to my side, and now let's continue. So my left line, we are going to make another row again. Okay, on my left line, I add 4 beads to my left line like this. Hold, cross and pull. Now my right line into the next 2 beads. Pull my line through the next 2 beads. And on my left line, I add 3 beads to my left line. This is 3 beads I add to my left line. Cross and pull down. Into the next 2. Into the next 2 beads. On my left line, I add 3 beads to my left line. The last one, and cross with the right line and pull. Like this. Now into the next 2 beads. Into the next 2. On the left line, I add 3 beads to the left line. Cross, pull down into the next 2 beads. So 2 beads. I add 3 beads to my left line. Like this. Cross with the right line and pull. Now we are going to repeat the same on this line until we complete. Alright, now I have 2 more to go. So I'm pulling my line through 2 beads. Alright, pulling through the last 2 beads. Now on my left line, I add 3 beads to my left line. Cross and pull down. Again, my right line into the next bead. Okay, you see we have 5 over here. We are going to repeat 5 beads over here. So I'm pulling through the last bead. On my right line, I add 3 beads to my right line. Like this. Cross with the left line and pull. Like this. See, we end with 5. Okay, we end with 5 beads. I'm flipping it over to my side so it'll be easy for me. Okay, now again I'm going to pull into the next bead. Pull my right line into the next bead. And this is how it's looking like. My line is in 2 beads. These 2 beads. Okay, now my left line, I add 5 beads to my left line. Hold the last bead and cross the right line into it. Pull down like this. Now my right line into the next 2 beads. I'm pulling through 2 beads. Again, my left line, I add 3 beads to my left line. Hold the last one, cross with the right line and pull down. I'm going to pull my line again into 2 bead. Okay, I'm going to continue into the next 2 bead. I pull my line, all right, pulling through 2 bead. I add 3 bead to my left line, and I'm going to continue this way to the end. Cross, pull down. All right, now I'm going to pull through the last 2. Go to the last 2 bead. Now my left line again. I add 1 bead and 3 bead on my right line. I add 3 to my right line and 1 on my left line. I cross with the left line and pull down. All right, I'm going to flip it over to my side like this, and this is how the weave is looking like. Very beautiful and pretty, and it's taking shape already. Okay, now on my left line again, I add 4 bead to my left line. I'm going to hold the last one and cross with the right line and pull down. Into the next 2 bead, I'm going to pull my right line into the next 2 bead. Go through 2 bead. All right. And on my left line, I add 3 bead to the left line, cross with the right line and pull into the next 2 bead. The same way we are going to continue to the end. Okay, I'm going to pull through 2 bead. Then on my left line, I add 3 bead to my left line like this. Cross, pull down, and this is how it's going to be. We are going to continue into 2, 3 bead to the left line, cross, pull down, and continue like this to the end. Repeat the same thing into 2 bead and add 3 to the next 2 bead. Okay, this is the second one. I'm pulling my line through. This is the last 2 on this row. And on my left line, this is my left line, I add 3 bead to my left line, cross with the right line and pull. I'm going to pull into my last bead, this bead over here. Okay, I'm going to pull my line through it, pull through the last bead, and on my right line, I add 3 bead to my right line like this. Cross with the left line and pull down. Again, I'm going to put my right line to the next bead. Go through the next bead. On my left line, my line is in 2 bead, all right? So my left line, I add 4 bead to my left line. For the last one, cross with the right line, pull down. I'm going to pull my right line again. This is how it's looking like. Okay, my right line into the next 2 bead. Go through 2 bead. Add 3 bead to the left line. Hold the last bead and cross the right line into it and pull into the next 2 bead. I add 3 bead to my left line, hold the last one, cross and pull down. And now I'm going to pull through the next 2 again. Pull through the next 2 bead, pull through the next bead, and on the left line I add 3 bead to my left line, and I'm going to be repeating, going through 2 bead and add 3 bead to it until I come to the end. All right, and now I'm about to enter the next 2 bead. This is the last 2 bead at the end, pulling my line through. So the same line I pull through the bead, I add 3 bead to it. Okay, 3 bead to my right line, cross, pull down into the next bead. I pull my line through the next bead. Okay, I'm flipping over to my side like this, and on my left line I add 4 beads to my left line, cross and pull down into the next 2, pull through 2 beads and add 3 beads to the left line like this, cross, pull down into the next 2, then I add 3 beads to my left line, cross and pull down into the next 2 beads, add 3 beads to the left line, hold the last one and cross with the right line, pull down. Okay, I'm going to pull through the next 2 beads, and this is what I'll be repeating until I complete this row. I add 3 beads to the left line, cross with the right line and pull down. Continue to the end. And now I'm about to complete this row. I have 2 left. I'm pulling my right line into the last 2 beads. Alright, now on my right line, this line, I add 3 beads to my right line. Okay, like this. Hold the last bead and cross the left line into it and pull. Now I'm going back. Let me flip it over to my side again into the next bead. Pulling right line into the next bead. I add 4 beads to my left line, cross and pull down into the next 2 beads. Go through 2 beads, add 3 beads to the left line, cross, pull down into the next 2 beads, add 3 beads to the left line, cross and pull down. Now I'm going to pull through the next 2 beads. We are going to repeat the same thing we did for the previous rows. That's what we are going to do over here. Okay, I pull through 2 beads and I add 3 beads to my left line. Okay, into 2 beads like this. Add 3 beads to the left line, and that is how we are going to repeat until we complete the row. This is the last 2. Pulling through the last 2 beads. This is the second bead right here. I add 3 beads to my right line, 3 beads. Cross with the left line, pull down. And look at how it's looking like, very pretty. So I turn it over to my side again and I'm going to pull through the next bead, okay? Pull through the next bead. And I'll be adding on my left line 4 beads. Hold the last one, cross with the right line, pull down into the next 2 beads, pull through the next 2 beads. I add 3 beads to my left line, cross and pull down. So now we are going to go through 2 beads and add 3 beads again. Go through 2, add 3 beads, cross, pull down into the next 2 beads. Alright, I add 3 beads to my left line, cross, pull down into the next 2 beads. Add 3 beads to the left line, cross, pull into 2 beads again, and to pull through the next 2, and I add 3 beads to my left line, cross, pull down. And now we have come to the end. Over here, the last one, I'm just going to tie over here, tie a knot in between these two beads over here, okay? Because this is the last row for the side of our bag. And now I'm just tying in between these two beads. And this is how it's looking like. It's very pretty, very beautiful, very simple and cute. So now that we complete this one, we have to make two of the side, okay? We have to make two the same size, the same thing. You have to create the same size again on the other side. And I'm going to make mine and put some pearls in it. The same design, I'm going to use pearls in it. So I'll do mine off camera and I'll meet you back here. Look at what we have, okay? This is what we have. I just use pearls in the middle, and the outer I use the same color. And this is how it's looking like, the same size of shape. That's what we create, okay? You have to make the same thing two. And I'll show you how we are going to put these two together. So this is how I'll be putting both pieces together, okay? I'll put it side by side, by each other like this, okay? Side by side like this. And we'll join both together, okay? We are going to join them. And here's my line. I'm going to ignore the first bead and pull my line through two beads. This is my line. I'm going through the second and the third bead, okay? Ignore the first bead and pull your line through two beads. Now I'm going to join my pieces with the 14 millimeter. All right. Now I'm going to add one pearl to my line, and on the next piece, this is the pearl I add to my line, okay? I'm going to ignore the first one and pull through the next two. Pull through the next two beads. Like this, okay? Now hold both ends of the line. Put those ends of the line together, pull them together, okay? Make sure both lines are equal so that one is not longer than the other. All right. Now I take another pearl and crisscross both ends of my line into it like this. Pull down. Now again, I'm going to hold my right line into the next two bead, my left into the next two bead. Through the next two bead, my left line into the next two bead. All right. Now I take one pearl, cross both ends of my line into it, and pull down. Okay. Now into the next two bead again, my right line into the next two, left into the next two. Go through two bead. Do the same to the left side on the opposite piece. I'm pulling my line through two bead. Okay, pull everything tight together. Now I take one bead, cross both ends of my line into it, and pull down. Cross, pull down like this. All right, now flip it over, then you continue. Okay, so you just hold one side, close it on the other one, and then continue round. Okay, I'm going to hold it this way, and we are going to continue. So my right line into the next two, my left into the next two. Go through two bead. All right, my left side, I pull through two bead, and now I take my pearl, cross both ends of my line, pull. This is how it's looking like. Into the next two bead. This is how we are going to continue all around this shape until we complete. All right, I'm pulling through two bead on the opposite side like this. I take my pearl, cross both ends of my line into it, and pull down like this. And this is how it's looking like. Continue round until you complete the shape. All right, until we complete. This is how it's looking like. Look at how pretty it looks like already. We go round this shape with the pearls. Very pretty, very beautiful. So now what we are going to do is to pull handle on it. Okay, so I have my line and I'm going to pull through this pearl. I'm going to pull my line through this edge pearl over here, the first one. So my line is in this bead, okay, this one. I take 2 beads. I'm going to add one on each line, one on the left and one on the right line, okay, right side of the line, like this. All right, then I'm going to hold both lines and tie. I'm going to tie a knot in the middle. Tie a knot, nice and neat in the middle. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take one pearl, hold both lines together and pull through the pearls like this. Okay, I pull my line through the pearl, and now I'm going to add blue. I'm going to add pearl, blue, and the pearl. I'm going to pattern, make a pattern with the bead over here, and that is what I'm going to do. You can make your own design. You can make this pattern or make your own design, okay, and make it as long as you want for the handle. And now I'm going to continue like this. This is how long I want it, and I'm going to attach it to this side. Now I'm going to add one on each side of my line again, like how we did for the first one. Add 1 bead to the right line, 1 bead to the left line. So now like this, and now I'm going to pull through the first pearl, this one, okay, pull through it, and I'm going to tie over here. I'm going to pull my line nice and neat and tie nice and neat. All right, very beautiful bag. Tie nice and neat and tie it in between the beads so it doesn't show on the bead. All right, and this is how it's looking like. Very cute, very beautiful. And I'm going to weave the rest of this line into the bead to make sure it's well secured before I trim it off. So if you are done with your bag too, weave it through a couple of beads before and secure those lines before you trim it off, okay, so the lines will not slip out. And this is what we have. This is our final product. It looks so beautiful. Thank you for watching. I thank you for your time, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also turn on all your notifications for new videos that I'll be uploading so you don't miss on it. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.